If you have needs or boundaries, you are in self-will or self-will run riot, though maybe you usually don't think so. The only acceptable response becomes to work your program. And if you relapse, you didn't work your program hard enough. And if it's not working for you, work your program more. So basically, if the thing that you're doing isn't working for you, do more of it. If you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, that's insanity. Welcome to the Sobriety Bestie podcast. I am Kirsten, your hostess and your friend in this Deprogram AA adventure we've been on recently. And right now we're on part 3 of our 8 signs AA is controlling your mind. Today we're talking about demand for purity. And this comes from an 8-part series based upon Dr. Robert J. Lifton's thought reform. Lifton studied how ideological systems, including ones like Alcoholics Anonymous, use psychological manipulation to control their members. AA checks every box. So what is demand for purity? In mind control systems, purity isn't about health, it is about obedience. You're pushed to purge impure thoughts, behaviors, and even emotions. The goal is internalizing self-policing. Have you internalized self-policing? Before I got to AA, I was never policing myself up in my head, always looking at my part. Not that all of that is wrong and bad, but there's like a self-critical about it, this daily inventory, nightly review, all of this stuff, this constant policing yourself and trying to be different than you are on repeat because you're character defected or have untreated alcoholism or whatever else. So AA's goal is internalizing that self-policing where anything outside of the ideology of the Alcoholics Anonymous ideology feels dangerous, selfish, or wrong. It creates a culture of guilt and shame, which can be used to further manipulate us. Inside Alcoholics Anonymous, a lot of us are taught to see our thoughts and our feelings and human complexity as defects, something to confess, fix, or surrender. Now let's take a look at how AA enforces a demand for purity. Character defects, so-called character defects, which are, in some cases, normal human emotions, neurodivergent traits, amongst things, unresolved trauma, mental health stuff, all sorts of things. But Bill is putting these all in this kind of religious sense of that we're sinning, basically. So anger, sadness, grief, doubt, fear, they're all labeled as defects, at least a lot of us. You can't just as a broad stroke say this happens for everybody in every meeting, in every context, with every sponsor relationship. I understand that there's going to be exceptions to the rules, right? I'm speaking generally here. Even trauma responses are framed as you're in self-will. And we're told to own everything, no matter what happened to you. What is your part of that sexual assault when you were a kid? Right? It's literally bananas and can be traumatic. Have you made amends and now you're out of AA and you're like, what the fuck was my sponsor on that agreed to and encouraged me and told me to make that amends for my part of the street when I was a kid and I didn't have a part of the fucking street. I was a kid, right? Now, that might not be your story, but a lot of people have messaged me that that's their story. So I'm speaking for the people who that's their story. We don't always have a side of the street. Kids are innocent for the most part. Another thing Alcoholics Anonymous does is split the world into sober and diseased, meaning like either you're working a good program or you're on the verge of relapse. That's your disease talking. You are a dry drunk. That's untreated alcoholism. These are literally all terminology that Bill made up. Remember, Bill Wilson, our pal from the 1930s, was a salesman. He was not a psychologist. He was not like a spiritual teacher even, or like some sort of guru. He was literally a salesman. He sold us terminology that he literally made up. He made up these terms. Dry drunk, untreated alcoholism. These are literally Bill's ideas. So people who leave or question the program are called spiritually sick, or people in the rooms will talk about that they're sick. I wasn't bad getting good. I was sick getting well. That's not how I see it now. We're not sick. I'm not sick. I don't think you're sick. I think what is being done in there is sick. And now that I'm out and looking at it, there's no middle ground. You're either in your recovery, you have good recovery, you have quality sobriety, or you're in your disease. How are you in your disease if you're sober? Like, what does that even mean that you're like in your addiction? But like, so what does that mean? Like when you take it all apart, what does it mean to you? And I'm not giving you an answer here, but I'm inviting critical thinking. So it's bananas. To me, sobriety means you're not drinking. If you're sober, it means you didn't drink. If I'm sober today, it means I didn't drink today. If I'm sober, I've been sober since September 2009. It means I did not have a drink since September 2009. I'm not in my disease. There is no disease. The disease is like an idea from Bill from the 1930s. It's not even a widely, commonly, currently accepted idea. And yeah, so there is that. And here the nuance dies. We start to see the world and ourselves through an all or nothing lens. The moral inventory in our step work, it becomes a tool for self-flagellation. Did you do the self-flagellation like this, the moral inventories and stuff before AA? AA gets this into our head. The 4-step can turn into a shame dump. We're told to list our wrongs even if we were the victim, especially in childhood. Resentment is the number one offender. That's literally Bill's idea. Resentment is the number one offender. We're at fault then for feeling hurt. Anger is the dubious luxury of normal men. So we're not even supposed to feel angry now. So we're not supposed to have our emotions. Is that spiritual bypassing? What is that, Bill? We're not supposed to have our feelings? How are we supposed to reject reality? If I have a feeling, I have a feeling, whether I think it's spiritual or right or wrong or an inventory about it or not. I'm having a feeling. It's kind of like the goal isn't even in sight. It's like a purification through confession and blame. Mistakes are framed as defects needing immediate surrender. If you miss a meeting, you are drifting. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you are not trusting your higher power. If you have needs or boundaries, you are in self-will or self-will run riot, though maybe you usually don't think so. The only acceptable response becomes to work your program. And if you relapse, you didn't work your program hard enough. And if it's not working for you, work your program more. So basically, if the thing that you're doing isn't working for you, do more of it. If you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, that's insanity. If you keep trying to work the program and it's not working for you, maybe it's not working for you. Maybe there's something else to do. But the catch is that when you're inside AA is the only way. So there isn't really an open mind to maybe you should leave AA and try another way. Like nobody will say that. Maybe a few people will say that. Nobody I ever met would say that. And then there's the whole idea about relapse erases everything. Just doesn't even make any sense. And this is where I have so much compassion. Like if you had a lot of time up in sobriety and then you have a drink, you relapse, whatever, if then all of a sudden you're on day 0 again or day 1 again, as if none of that experience mattered or counted, as if anything that you had already learned or evolved through or the work that you had done, as if that's all erased. And this whole like chip system to reinforce the purity myth, you must be clean, perfect, and unbroken, and none of that time counts. So relapse isn't treated as a data point. It's like a moral collapse. It's like shame and it's, humiliating, and you got to go get your new chips again. You got to raise your hand again as a newcomer, and then you're treated differently because I saw people treat differently. Like my experience is I have not had a drink since I went to AA, but I did see how people were treated when they came back from relapsing, as if they don't know anything, as if they weren't just there for 5 years next to you. You know what I mean? Like, they're not an idiot. They weren't just born. They were there. They just drank. So, yeah. And there's the culture of you have to confess, recommit, repurify yourself to be accepted. So it reinforces black and white thinking. You're either pure or you're ruined is kind of the vibe. And if you seek outside help, if you're even allowed to, because a lot of sponsors won't allow you to, which is ridiculous and should be illegal and criminal. When somebody's in early sobriety and their sponsor, who is literally a random person in a church basement, says don't get outside help, don't get therapy, don't get support other than do your inventory or your steps, it's completely irresponsible. I think you gotta trust yourself. So people should be able to trust what they need and get the own help like they want. Nobody should be discouraged. People who are in early sobriety and are going through mental health struggles, dealing with unprocessed emotions for the first time without self-medicating, who are feeling like they want therapy and are feeling like they want some sort of outside of Alcoholics Anonymous support, guidance, mentorship, accountability, something, whether it is literally a therapist, it's a doctor, it's medication, it is some sort of support system or a guide or a coach or whatever. If they're being discouraged from this, yeah, it's wrong. It's part of that purity thing. Do your steps first. Why don't you get to step 12 and then get the outside stuff? Who the fuck are you? We should be able to trust ourselves. The whole idea that we need to be pure, whether it is in our day count, whether it is in where we get our help from, like only from inside the rooms, or what literature we read, only conference approved literature, or whatever it is, this whole purity idea, it just comes with it so much guilt and shame that just helps lock us into the system further and to have us stay mind controlled. So noticing where this might be true for you, still, even if you've left AA and you're deprogramming, does this live inside of you? Or do you still have a little bit of the purity mindset? I've talked to a lot of people who have left AA, like in the DMs and stuff, who have said that they no longer use the recovery lingo. They don't talk about day count. They don't talk about sobriety time or celebrate. They don't call it a relapse if they drink. They don't call it, like, they're not concerned with all the lingo that goes with that whole culture. They're just doing their best. And if they drink and they want to get sober again, or they want to not drink again, they're not punishing themselves. Oops, that didn't work for me. Let's keep going this direction where I don't drink, without having to have this like purity, shame, day count, reinforcement. I don't know. There's just so much that goes along with it. You know by now what I think. We got to trust ourselves and critically think, and that's part of the path to freedom. So that's it. Let's see. Tomorrow we have part 4 is on 8 signs AA is controlling your mind. Part 4 is the cult of confession. So keep your eye out for that. I hope to see you in the comments. Let me know what you think. How is this true for you? What are your thoughts? I'm more interested in what you think. I'm trying to bring some ideas to you and some of my thoughts to you and some of other people's thoughts, like Lifton's thoughts on thought reform or mind control, to see, really to help you get more clear on what you actually think for yourself. That's the only interesting thing here. What do your critical thoughts say? I'm just presenting a conversation to help stir up other people's thoughts, and I hope that I can see a huge conversation in the comments with lots of different thinking on this. So I think we should be thinking for ourselves. What do you think? What's true for you? All right, there's plenty of links below as well, below the video, in the show notes, down below in the description. If you want to check out any of my free resources, I have a lot of free ways that I could help you forward. I also have paid versions of things like my online courses. So scroll below, give it a little look-see-loo. If anything looks like a great next step for you, trust it, go in, do the work, do whatever you want, or I'll see you tomorrow. Either way, I hope you're having a great day. Bye.